Hello everybody, good morning. Welcome to this live stream session on studying nursing and midwifery at DMU. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is George. I work in the Faculty of Health and Life Sciences here at Montfort University. Please do leave us a comment to say hi. We'd love to hear from you. I'm joined this morning by some academic colleagues from the Leicester School of Nursing and Midwifery, along with one of our current students. So we're going to start just by introducing ourselves. So I'm going to hand over first to Chris. Chris, I don't think we can hear you. Yay, that's it. That's better.
How's that?
That's perfect.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties, apologies.
Okay.
My name's Chris Whitney Cooper, and I'm the head of the School of Nursing and Midwifery. And that's it's one of the biggest schools in the Faculty of Health and Life Sciences. And nursing and midwifery are the biggest courses within the university, nursing particularly. And we have a large number of staff, over 90 staff teaching that. It's my job to try and work with all those people to try and deliver all of the courses. And I have a number of senior academics to help me do that. I suppose the other thing I should say is that I'm a nurse by background. And one of the things you will find as you come into the nursing and midwifery is most of us are nurses or midwives. Okay.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, and over to you, Liza.
Morning, everybody. My name is Lazar Karagich. I'm the Associate Professor for Nursing and Midwifery. I work with Chris. I'm also the Associate Head of School and a children's nurse by trade. And I look forward to giving you some further information this morning.
Lovely, thank you. And finally over to our current student, so Renee.
Morning, my name's Renee. I'm a current second year student. I'm studying learning disability nursing.
Fantastic. Okay, so thank you everybody. Over the course of the next hour, we're going to be hearing from both Chris and Lazar about what teaching and learning is going to be looking like across your course areas. And Renee as well is going to be able to give us some of her experiences of what online learning has been like over the last few months. So first of all, we'd like to congratulate you all on staying positive about your future and choosing to continue with your journey into higher education this coming academic year. We're obviously living in an extraordinary year that has affected all of our lives and plans, and DMU understands completely what a significant year this is for you, because it is for us too. If you're planning to start or continue your higher education journey in 2020, we want you to know that DMU is here for you every step of the way. And that's what this morning's session is all about giving you, is some reassurance around that. If you're planning to start at DMU in September, what we're going to be able to talk about this morning is how your future at DMU has got a way now called your DMU Future, of providing you with safe campus living, quality teaching, one-to-one time with academics, and a great student experience. And all of those things are available to you within our diverse, inclusive, and welcoming DMU community. We're committed to ensuring that you get the help that you might need with your life, work, and study. So we'll provide some details of where you can find out more about your DMU Future, either during or towards the end of the session. We've got a web area set up for that where you can go and get more information. So we've been really carefully planning for the upcoming academic year. So what we're going to be doing this morning is I'm going to hand over to Chris and Lazar for them to give you a bit more information about what you can expect for your teaching and learning on the course. So I'm going to start by handing over to Chris.
Hi. I suppose one of the things that you need to know about nursing and midwifery is that we have been carrying on during the whole of the pandemic lockdown. Nursing and midwifery didn't stop for the summer. all of the students are still doing theory and practice. And that's a key component of our courses, that you do 50% of your time in theory and 50% in practice. The challenges we've had from the pandemic have meant that we've moved to online quite quickly. And that's meant that it's been a great opportunity to actually engage with students. So we're really, really well prepared for you coming to do a mixture of online teaching, going into placements, and having some face-to-face teaching where we can do that should the restrictions get loosened a little bit. And the course that you're coming to is about theory and practice. You're doing a course that's leading to a registration in nursing or midwifery. And that's really important because you've got to meet certain professional standards. And we have got to work quite hard to ensure that at the end of the programme, however the programme is delivered, that you are ready to be able to be a nurse or a midwife. And that's very important. What we've learned over the last few months is how to be flexible. And that's a great skill for a nurse or a midwife to learn. You've had to learn to take on new skills online, but also the fact that we've had to move placements and create placements in different ways to enable all the nurses and midwives to get the hours and the competencies they need. So coming to DMU, we are really well prepared for you. We are working quite hard behind the scenes as academics to try and support you in the best way we can. And I'm sure you'll be hearing from Rennie in a bit about what that experience looks like. And one of the things that's really exciting is coming to DMU and doing the course. And as the course moves on, as we maybe move to more face-to-face, it is about giving you the best student experience we can, so that you actually are the best nurse or midwife. That's the most important thing to us in the university, and certainly in the School of Nursing and Midwifery. All the people you're going to meet are going to be nurses or midwives. We've got one or two people who aren't, but majority are, and we're all keen to see that you become the next generation for nursing and midwifery. I think that's all I wanted to say at the moment.
Excellent, thank you, Chris. Lazar, have you got anything you'd like to add to that in terms of what October is going to be looking like for our students?
Well, welcome everybody. Just to say that we've been working really hard, as Chris intimated, throughout the summer to welcome you. We look forward to seeing you at the new term start, and we've been making preparations that we've had to adjust regularly in order to make it as normal as possible. The academics have been working hard in preparing material for you to on your commencement of the programme, and something that we've been doing for some time, but I've had to learn new skills and new methods to help us and help you develop your nursing and midwifery and paramedic programs.
Excellent. And have you got any examples of those kind of methods that you've had to use over the last few months?
Yes, we've had, and Renee will be able to shed more light from a student point of view, but we've developed our Blackboard site, which is our learning platform with online learning. Some of it is online live streaming, where students can interact and ask questions as the lecture goes along. We've developed other material to help and support students so that they're prepared before they come into lectures and into seminars. There are advantages as well to online learning, in that it gives students who maybe would be quite in a classroom situation an opportunity to ask questions and to interact. And we've seen really good responses from students. They tell us that they can participate as part of lectures. So I think it does give a voice to those that are maybe a little bit shy at coming forward. Okay,
thank you, Lazar. Right, well, obviously back in March this year, we all had to adapt really quickly to online teaching and learning. So I think it might be good if we hand over to Renee just to get a bit more information about your experience of that.
Hi everyone. So obviously when I started my degree, I'm in my second year, it was all face-to-face teaching. DMU quickly had to adapt. Most of my lectures now are delivered live. So just like this is, you get to see the lecturer. And you'll be able to have a chat facility at the side where you can type away any questions. Not all the time are they delivered live. So content on Blackboard is always available for you, and lectures that would perhaps have a PowerPoint attached and would usually be done face to face, they have voiceovers on. So for example, if you're looking at a lecture on your laptop, rather than just seeing PowerPoint slides, a lecturer will be explaining in more depth about the lecture content, and you get to hear their voice. In terms of being able to contact academics, there's email. I've also had my personal tutor call me on my mobile phone. So it's just really being confident with emailing your lecturers, and remembering that they're still there. Obviously, it's perhaps not as simple to go and find them face to face for a chat, but it is still the same. You can still email, and they're quite prompt at getting back to you. A little bit more about assessments and exams. It might change as the government regulations change, but I had an exam changed into an assignment. So again, DMU were very quick to adapt to make sure that I could still complete my module on time. Placement for me also got moved, and then academic stuff got brought forward. So in the changing times, DMU were really able to adapt. So as I said, I could still continue going forward with my course.
Okay, all right, lovely. Renee, how have you found being able to work with other students? So having the ability to kind of communicate with each other and collaborate across your peers, how's that worked?
Yeah, so sometimes that presents as a little bit of a challenge, but there is many online systems via video that are available. So we've been able to use Microsoft Teams. And what has happened, the lecturer will maybe send some content beforehand for us to work through as a group. And then the lecturer will join in the group chat and we will discuss it all together. So there is the option still there to do group work, and it works quite well actually, because you are given, you've got more time really with online learning. I was commuting to DMU, and that would sometimes take me about an hour to arrive at DMU on campus. So now actually being in the comfort of your home environment or somewhere where you've got internet access, for me, you have got quite a lot more time to be able to attend lectures.
Perfect, thank you very much. Okay, we've got some questions that we're going to start to work through. So hopefully as we go through these, we can maybe unpick a bit more of the detail around this. And again, if anybody whilst you're watching has any questions they'd like to ask either Renee or Chris or Lazar, then please do pop them into the comments and we will come to them afterwards. So shall we start with our first question? So our first question, what will my course look like when I start in September? Shall I hand that one over to you, Chris?
Okay, yeah, that's fine. My mic is on, I take it. Your course will look very similar as our courses have always looked. You'll get blocks of theory and blocks of practice, and in the blocks of theory, I'm not going to talk about the teaching particularly. I'm sure Lazar's going to pick up some of that, but it's about having a kind of blended approach to learning to try and give you opportunities to engage with the material. One of the things we do know is that some people find online learning really difficult. So there are lots of ways we engage with you through online learning, through lectures, through small group teaching, through one-to-one teaching. All of those are so that we can enable people to have that support and help. So your course will look like that. You'll have lectures and you'll have all that preparation. And where we can't do lectures, where we need to do particular skills in preparation for practice, we will do some very safe face-to-face teaching, which will have proper PPE, and we will do that in small group teaching, and that will be on campus. But that's limited by the fact that we have to make sure that everybody is safe. Once we've done that, then there's an opportunity to move into practice, and the practice is a block of teaching with support in practice, and we will do risk assessments before people go out, and you will be given appropriate supervisors to support you in practice. And that's how the program is run, so that you actually have a block of theory where you do a module and then you go out into practice, and that's how the program continues. You will have an opportunity to meet the learning outcomes which are related to professional standards. Those professional standards are really important. So out in practice and in theory, it's all about learning what it means to be a professional and having the skills and knowledge to care for people. That's the key to your course. That's the key to what we're training you to do. So at the end of the 3 years, you will be registered in whatever professional course that you're on. So your course will look very similar, but it will be much more online, which in some respects gives you an opportunity to gain different skills. Because I know lots of people think that everybody's really good online. I've learned loads since we've gone online. I'm using technology that I haven't used before, and I'm finding that is really helpful and will be helpful in the future, because obviously the NHS is moving to much more technology. So that's what your course will start to look like a little bit in September. But we're all here, and we're all here to support you. All the lecturers, the associate professors, the professors, we're all here to teach you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so our second question then. So what will teaching be like when the course starts? So Lazar, I'm going to come to you for this one.
The teaching will be, as Chris said, very similar to what it normally looks like. The first 10 weeks of the programme are designed primarily to socialise you, to start you thinking about what are the challenges going to come up regarding the programme, what the professional expectations are of you as a student out in practice, and how this relates to your chosen field. So this would normally happen, and students would be classroom based for the first 10 weeks leading up into Christmas, and then after Christmas we would normally go out into practice, and we are expecting for this to continue. So I think that certainly this lends itself really well to the current situation, and we feel that this can be transposed for your learning. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you start your program, and we're well prepared. And as Chris said, as we get further advice from the government, we can look to adapting and getting students more into the classroom in a very safe environment.
Okay, thank you, Lazar.
Can I add something to that, actually?
Yes, please.
Because one of the things that you probably don't realise, but the people that we've got in the school all have specialist expertise. So Rennie's a learning disability nurse, so we've got learning disability nurses as part of the team teaching learning disability nurse. So all the people in the school have specific expertise to teach the different fields of practice. So for midwives, for paramedics, all of us, all of the nurses, midwives and paramedics have to keep up to date to keep their registration alive. And that's a real key important. Even myself as head of school, I have to ensure that I keep up to date so that what I'm doing is relevant and still live for what we need within in the NHS now. So Lazar as well, we've all have a 3-year requirement to revalidate. I've just done mine. And it's really important to realize that the people that are teaching you are the people who know what the subject is. They've all had experience within the NHS or in the private sector. They've all been very experienced in their fields of practice. Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Are there any examples of any of our academic staffs who are particularly specialist in certain areas of nursing? So any research that we have that's focused on within the school?
Yeah, we have quite a lot actually. At the moment, we've got a huge study going on called the Crying Baby, which sounds interesting, but it's essentially teaching parents who've got fractious children how to cope with a crying baby, which is a huge piece of work that it's filtered through children's nursing, through midwifery. We've got loads of work at the moment going on around pandemic, and how we're coping with the pandemic and how nursing is coping with that. So we're involved in quite a lot of that. We've also got significant amounts of work looking at elderly care and loneliness in the elderly. Those are some of the really key things. I'm just trying to think of, we've got quite a lot on mental health. We've got a number of studies looking at supporting people with mental health problems within the community. All of that research is very practice-based. We don't do academic research. We do research that will impact on practice, and that information informs our programs as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. Okay, so our next question. So I think this is one that lots of our applicants will probably be interested in, to do with placements. So will I get to go on placements? And I don't know if it's worth maybe giving some information about how that's worked for us over the last few months, and then what the plan is for the coming cycle. So Chris, do you want to pick this one up?
Yeah, I'll make a start with that. Yes, so when the pandemic happened, we didn't know what would happen to placements, but we worked really hard with our providers so that we would ensure, if we could get placements, that how to do it safely. So at the moment, we're in what we call the recovery phase. So we're working with our placement providers to look at making sure that the placements return to normal. We've had a number of placements which have been shaped slightly differently because of the fact of the support to the COVID pandemic. But now that things are settling, we are going back to normal placements. So we're working with our providers to see what that would look like. And for your cohorts coming in September, when we will be putting you into placement is a key thing that we're looking at. So we are shaping our timetabling to reflect that. And currently, the only students that haven't gone into placement at the moment are our first years, who were first years at the beginning of this, and they're due to go into placement in the next couple of weeks. And we're preparing them, and we're working with them to enable them to have the right skills so that they feel confident. And in practice, you've got supervisors and assessors who are also there to support and help the students and help you when you go into placement. It's always a bit of a challenge. And I know that some people are worried about going into placements because of what's happened around the pandemic. Can I reassure people that we do very clear risk assessments? We have very good PPE, and we will work with individuals to place them in the right placements, so that we minimize any risks and people will get the training and the education that they need.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so next question, what support will I receive? Lizar, so I guess in terms of maybe academic support, tutorials, that kind of thing, what do we have available?
The support is really good for students, and that's continued throughout the university, despite the disruption. I'm a personal tutor. I've got 20 students within my personal tutor group, and I meet up with them regularly. And I would say that I probably meet with them more regularly than I would if we were back on campus. As Renee said earlier, it does give you a degree of flexibility, and I think this is something that will continue going forward in how we communicate with our students. Though I would see my students generally once a semester. I find that I'm meeting them more regularly now because we can do, and students don't have to travel in to see me. So that's really good. There are a number of different support mechanisms there for students. I will see my students for personal tutorial, academic, pastoral support, things and concerns they may have about practice and how these can be addressed. There's also a huge teams or different teams that work across the university that support students with their various needs, but be they academic. So students may want and need support for any disabilities or mental health and ongoing issues. We've got a very big library service that helps students develop their writing and academic skills. So there's a huge range of support there for students, and this has continued and will continue going forward.
Thank you, Lizar. Renee, have you got anything to add to that in terms of, I know you've touched slightly on the support that you've received, but outside of maybe the academic and tutorial support that you've had, have you accessed any other services across DMU, maybe across the library or other sort of general teaching and learning?
Yeah, so obviously we're not able to visit the library currently because of restrictions, but the library system is all online. So you can search for journals, support for, in terms of nursing, there's a mathematics side to it, so there's support for that as well. Academic writing support is also part of the library online service. So it's just really getting to look on the library website and get to familiarise yourself with what's on there. It's just taking the time really to have a look what's available online, because it is all there. It's just finding the time to look for it.
Thank you. Okay. Next question. So what financial help will I get on the course? Is there any funding available? Chris or Lizar, which one of you would like to take this? Chris?
Yeah. That's a big question, actually. Outside of the student loan, every student, nurse, midwife and paramedic will be entitled to a 5,000 non-means tested, non-returnable grant, which starts this September. So your cohort will all be eligible for that. That's additional funding to recognise the needs of students. So there is that additional funding coming. In terms of if you got any financial hardship during the course, DMU does have a hardship fund that you can apply for if you need additional funding. The other thing to remember is when you go out on placement, there is an opportunity for you to claim back travel allowance. And if you have to stay over, there's opportunities for claiming back that funding as well. I mean, there are obviously lots of regulations around that, but it does mean that you're not because you're going out into practice, which most university students don't have. There is support for you, so there is quite a lot of financial support for students.
Thank you, Chris. Lazar or Renee, have you got anything to add to that in terms of your experiences?
Sorry, Lazar, go first.
Okay, well, the only thing that I was going to add on to Chris's comments is that as well as every student getting £5,000 across the board per year, Rennie will be very happy because learning disability, mental health, and certain professional groups that are seen as in need of additional support to attract students will get an additional £1,000. There is further support for families and people who have dependents, and there's also support going to be available in certain areas of the country. This information hasn't been finalised yet. We haven't been given the information regarding which areas are going to get this particular support. So I think it's a really good time to have a little bit of much needed and money available to help with your living costs.
Thanks, Cesar. Just before we go to Renee, where's the best place to go to get the most up-to-date information to find out the detail behind what you've just mentioned?
I will just double check and I'll come back to you on that one if that's all right.
Of course it is. Renee, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I have applied. I think Lazar might clarify this. The Learning Support Fund, it was simple to apply. And what they're going to do is in between when you get your maintenance student loan, you will get this additional bursary. So it'll space out very nicely between the year, and you won't have as long of a chunk of a time without any money going in. So that's the idea behind it, to give you a steady flow alongside the maintenance loan with this new bursary. So you're always supported financially.
Lovely, thank you, Renee.
Yeah. Do you want me to come back on that?
Yep, go for it.
If you want further information, there's further information about the NHS Learner Support Fund, and this is at the NHS Business Service Authority. So that's the NHS Business Service Authority.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Should we move to our next question? So this is one for you, Renee, I think. What advice would you give to someone starting nursing? So at the moment, if we're talking to people that are going to be joining us at the start of the new year, our new first year students, from your experience now, what top tips do you think you could give them?
Okay, so starting now, obviously, most stuff, if not everything, is online. So it's really important. You'll hear this a lot, to attend the lectures. But honestly, if you can use your phone or an iPad or a laptop, it is important that you are there, because there's vital information going out to you all the time, whether it's up-to-date information surrounding placements or your academic learning through online lectures. So it's really important to try and attend all the online lectures that you can. And like I said earlier, if you cannot attend live stuff that's streaming live like this, there's often a recording, or there is often content on the Blackboard shell that has been uploaded previously that you can look at, and it's there for you to access all the time.
Thank you. And have you got any tips about, obviously, we've spoken about placements and how things might be slightly different at the start of the coming year, but have you got any advice on preparing for that?
For placements, just a big one for me is to know where you're going. So in terms of that, I always do a drive to my placement, so I know the route, that type of thing. To contact your placement early on and just be confident, because as student nurses, we are going to be a help through these uncertain times. So I think just go out there and try and be confident and enjoy yourself, and you'll learn a lot from the lecturers at DMU, as well as when you're out on placement. There's a lot to learn and enjoy.
Perfect. Thank you, Renee. Okay, I think maybe we have one more question. Right, so what if I have to interrupt due to family problems? Chris, a hand to you.
Okay. I suppose it's a strange question on one level, is that you haven't started the course yet and you're thinking about, well, what happens if life gets in the way and I can't carry on with the course? One of the things that I'd like to say is that we do everything we can to keep and support students, because one of the things we know is that life happens. So things happen in your personal circumstances in your life, but we're here to try and support you the best way possible. And if that means that at some points you have to say, I can't carry on and I need a bit of a break, we can facilitate that. But I mean, ultimately, what we want to do is to see you complete the course successfully and keep going if you can. And we will put as much support in place as we can to enable that to happen.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I think they are all the questions that we have at the moment. So before we go, is there anything final, either from Chris or Lazar, or from you, Renee, that you would like to, any advice to give our incoming students, or anything for over the summer potentially that they could be looking to do in order to prepare themselves as well as possible for joining us at the start of the academic year?
Yeah, I would say that, you know, this is a wonderful time to be part of the NHS family. We've seen every Thursday people coming out on the streets, clapping, me included, to say, you know, thank you for all the wonderful work that people are doing. In 3 years' time, I think that's where you need to focus, that in 3 years' time, we will be graduating you on one of our wonderful events, and you will be joining the profession as a qualified nurse or a midwife or a paramedic. How wonderful that is. You know, after all these years, I'm still very proud to be a nurse and to be called a nurse. It's a wonderful profession to be in. And despite all the sort of current difficulties, that need will not change. And in fact, it will grow. 100% of our students go on to get a job within the NHS at some point. So it's a really good investment for your future. And that's all that I've ever worked in, is the NHS, and now in education, teaching other people about the NHS. So I think don't forget that it's a brilliant profession to be part of.
I suppose I could add to that. At the moment, the government is looking to increase the number of healthcare workers across all professions. So this is a great time to be coming into any profession, nursing, midwifery, paramedicine, because there are vacancies within the NHS. So there's an opportunity here. Lazar's just said we get 100% of people. 80% of our students who come to Leicester stay in Leicester and work in the local area, which says something about people's commitment to the NHS and to where they've done their training. So there's a real community here, and a real opportunity to come and join a community.
I'd just like to say to new students, although perhaps starting online might seem a bit daunting, it is the same, although you can't speak to your lecturers face-to-face in person. The support is very much still there, and all the lecturers and academics we're all in the same position at the end of the day. So everybody works together and you're very well supported. So don't feel intimidated that things are a little bit different. DMU are good at adapting very quickly and helping you.
Perfect, lovely. Okay. Well, I think that's probably all that we've got time for today. So thank you everybody for joining us. Obviously, thank you to Chris and Lazar and Renee for talking us through this morning, all the detail for October. Obviously, there's still lots of questions that I'm sure everyone will have over the coming weeks, and you can find out more information about your DMU future on our website. So make sure that you regularly check in there, because any updates that we have, whether it's across DMU or on a course level, will be put onto our dedicated web area. So it's Your DMU Future. We would love as well for you to join us at our upcoming event. We've got an event on Friday. For anybody who has actually accepted an offer at DMU, we have your DMU Big Night In happening this Friday at 7 p.m. So make sure that you book your place. We would really love to see you there. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you at DMU soon. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.